Oh god, I keep stabbing the shade. What's wrong with me?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video, if you can't tell by the title, we are going to be playing with the new Beautybay Sunset Horizons Palette. Let's just look at this packaging. Hello, hello. This launched on Monday, so it launched on Monday the 5th of October. I was meant to get it Tuesday and I was going to film with it Tuesday, however, Hermes decided not to deliver it until Wednesday. So yeah, we're filming it with this today. I'm excited. I'm getting this video filmed, edited and up for you guys all in one day because I just need to. It's a new palette. We're here. We're doing it. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight on into it. Okay, so if you didn't know, Beautybay of course launched a new palette. They have been killing it recently with their new launches. They launched some new blushes, bronzers, highlighters, lip glosses, obviously the new Nikki palette, and now this one, and now they're again releasing another one which is meant to be called the Book of Spells, which I'll put up here. But yeah, I'm excited for that one as well. And yes, I'm excited. I'm loving their new launches. I'm here for it. They're killing it at the minute. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight on into the palette. Let's do some swatches and all the good stuff. So yeah. Okay, so like I just said, they released a new palette called Sunset Horizons. This is what the packaging looks like. Obviously very sunset themed. They got the ombre on the writing. They've got the purple packaging. I'm really here for it. The outer packaging literally looks like this. So if you've seen like my highlighter and blush and bronzer like video, you'll know that like this packaging very similar to like the packaging for the highlighters and the blushes and the bronzers. Obviously this has eyeshadow on it. It's just a plain black cardboard box pretty much, and on the back it has like the ingredients, a little bit of information, that kind of thing. I never usually keep boxes, so I'm not going to be keeping this one, but yeah, the packaging itself is stunning. So let's open her up. This palette comes with 20 shades. Really gorgeous. It has got a big mirror in it up here. You can kind of see it's a really good size mirror. This retails for £15, which honestly that is an absolute bargain for 20 shades. So in this palette you do get 14 mattes and 6 shimmers, which honestly for me I'm quite impressed with. I don't think this is a pressed pigment palette. On the website it literally just says eyeshadow palette. If it was pressed pigment, I'm pretty sure it would say on the website that it is pressed pigment, so I'm pretty sure all these are just eyeshadows. I think they have done pressed pigments in a few of their other palettes before, like the Nikki one, I think there's a few pressed pigments, maybe the Mitchell one, I'm not too sure. But yeah, this is what she looks like. I'm excited. Honestly, when I saw this palette I was like, yes, I'm here for it. And £15 for 20 shades? Yes, again, I'm here for it. Loving the prices. I'm obsessed. Beautybay is like one of them brands which is like, it's not high end, it's not yeah, it's not high end, but it's also not drugstore either. It's almost like in the middle, a bit like BH Cosmetics, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm obsessed with the shades in this palette. So let's go ahead. We're going to do some swatches. I'm also going to compare it to a few of the shades in the Nikki palette, as a lot of people have said that apparently there's a lot of like similar shades. I can kind of see it, but at the same time I can't. I think the Nikki palette is very unique, and I think there's a few similar shades definitely, but not enough for me to be like it's basically the same palette, if that makes sense. So I'm going to swatch a few of the shades from this palette which I think are similar. But yeah, let's go ahead and just jump on into the swatches of the Sunset Horizon palette. So we have the first row swatched. I'll be doing descriptions of each of the shades for you guys, but this is the first row swatch. Oh my god, it's very yellow. So we have the first shade here, which is called Dusk. This is a pale pink matte. We then have the shade Shell. This is obviously very similar to my skin tone. This is a light beige matte. We then have the next shade, which is called Mirage. This is a champagne shimmer. I don't really see it as being champagne. I see it as being a very yellow toned gold, but yeah. We then have the next shade, which is called Zest. This is a mustard yellow matte. And then we have the last shade here, which is called Moonlit, and this is a pale yellow matte. Really pretty. The shimmer, honestly, I feel like the shimmer is very similar to the shimmers in like the Nikkie Tutorials palette. Not as squishy, because the ones in her palette are very, very soft. This one that I've just swatched now isn't as soft, however it is very pigmented and very foiled, so I do appreciate that. Not gonna lie, some of the shimmers in the old Beautybay palettes, like, they weren't my favourite. Just letting you guys know, they weren't my favourite. They weren't as foiled, they weren't as pigmented. They were still nice, but I prefer something that's very foiled. So yeah, so this is the next row swatched. Very, very bright, vibrant, very nice. So we have the first shade here, which is called Sorbet. No, it's not. I'm sorry, I'm lying. So we have the first shade here, which is called Flamingo. This is a deep pink matte, very gorgeous. We then have the next shade, which is called Cocktail. This is a hot pink shimmer. This one seems to be a bit more putty when you like touch it in the pan, more than Mirage. So yeah. We then have the next shade, which is called Reef. This is a coral orange matte, very gorgeous. We then have the shade Burst, which is an orange shimmer, again very foiled. And then the last shade on this row is called Sorbet, and this is a deep orange matte. To the third row, we have the more purpley blue shades. We have the first shade, which is called Hibiscus. This is a violet matte. We then have the shade Bikini. This is a light purple matte, very like lilac. We then have the shade Oasis, which is a turquoise shimmer. We then have the shade Deep, which is a dark blue matte. Say it's more light than dark. And then the last shade in the row we have Thunder, which is a midnight blue matte. And see, the last row, this is definitely the darkest row in the palette, as you can see. So we have the first shade, which is called Twilight. This is a deep purple matte, dark purple matte, should I say. We then have the next shade, which is called Stargazing. This is a dark blue / purple shimmer. Definitely see the purple shimmer in there. We then have the shade Canyon. This is a dark brown. We then have the shade Coconut, a dark brown shimmer. And the last shade we have Black. This black is actually has swatched really well. Like, you know me guys, I don't usually base my opinion off swatches. However, these are swatched. All of them are swatched really well, to be honest with you, considering they're not pressed pigments, they're just shadows. They're just normal shadows. I think they're swatched really well. So I did swatch a few shades from Nikkie's palette, the ones that I thought were most similar to the ones in the Sunset Horizon palette. So we have Nikkie's shade here. This is Vla. Sorry, you can kind of see the pink underneath. And this is the shade Moonlit. They are kind of similar, but also this one's more like pastel, I would say, whereas this is more like a bright yellow. We then have Mama Tutorials and also the shade Oasis. Oasis is definitely more of like a turquoisey blue, rather than like a bright shimmery blue, if that makes sense. And then we have the shade Redemption and the shade Reef. These are very similar, I can't lie. But yeah, I know a lot of people did say that they thought that the palettes were very, very similar, but I kind of don't see it. I don't see it, to be honest with you, but I do kind of get what people were coming from. But I still think that the Sunset Horizon palette is very different to Nikkie's palette. So yeah, that's just my own personal opinion, you know. You guys can have your own opinion, but yeah. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the eye tutorial, and at the end I'll kind of give my final thoughts of what I think of the palette. So yeah, let's jump straight on into it. Okay, so I've literally just primed my lids, obviously using the ABH eye primer. If you guys know, you know. So yeah, I kind of know what I'm going to do with this palette. I think I've been looking at it and I was like, yeah, I kind of know what I want to do. So I'm going to take the first shade. I'm going to take the shade Sorbet, which is this like deep orange shade. I'm going to pack this on the inner portion on my lid, if that makes sense. So like here. Not taking it too far, as I am putting a different colour on the outer part. Yes, I'm living. I'm then going to take the next shade. I'm going to take the shade Hibiscus, which is that like bright, deepish purple shade almost. And this is the shade that I'm going to take onto like the outer part. Ooh. There's a little bit of fallout from these two shades, but nothing crazy, not gonna lie. Ooh, look at these two shades together. What? I'm then gonna go ahead and take the shade Reef, which is this lighter orange shade here, and I'm gonna start to blend out the inner portion, obviously, like above that orange, above the Sorbet shade. Blends out really pretty. Yeah, I like that. It's gorgeous. I'm going to take the shade Moonlit, which is this yellow shade here, and I'm going to start to blend out above, obviously, the oranges, obviously. I'm not like going past the purple, as I am going to put a different shade there. Moving on back to this side, I'm going to take a tiny little bit of Flamingo, which is this bright hot pink. I'm not going to try and put too much on with this shade as it's very pigmented and I don't want it to be too pigmented. Yeah, I want it like that, yeah. I want there to be like an explosion of colour on my lid. Pretty much, that's what I'm asking for. Then I'm going to go into the shade Dusk, which is that really light pink shade. This one here, and I'm going to blend obviously above the pink and the purple. Blend that out so then there's no harsh line. Very light, I feel like. It does do the job. It's just very light. It's very light. Like, it's weird. It's like, looks like there's not much going on to my eye, but it has picked up on the brush. Whether it's just me, I'm not actually too sure. I'm gonna go ahead and just go into all the shades again, build them all up. I'll do this off camera because pretty much I'm just going into the same shades, building it up one more time, blending it out one more time. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my crease as well, and then we'll be back to do the lid shade together. So yeah, I'll be right back. So I've just obviously cut my crease off camera. Again, use the ABH eye primer, you know the drill. These are blended out really nice so far. Like, I'm actually living. I'm actually obsessed. I really like it. Yeah, I'm really impressed. to be honest. For the lid shade, I want to do something very bright and colourful, so we're going to go into the shade Oasis, which is the turquoise shimmer shade here. Oh, let's get this on the lid. Let's see how it applies. Yeah, some of these aren't as like soft as the ones in the Nikki palette, especially when you put your brush in them. Let's see. And this packs on really well with the brush, unlike Nikki's palette where some of the shades don't. Oh my gosh. I am obsessed. The one thing that's missing in this palette for me personally, not going to be for everyone, is a highlight shade. I like to go in with something bright on my inner corner usually. I also think there should be like a red in here. Because obviously you've got like 2 oranges and 2 yellows. I just feel like they could have been a red. You know. Because when I think of sunset, I do think of red as well. But I know that orange and yellow and purple are like the main shades. You can apply this shade dry. You don't need to wet it. You don't have to use your finger if you don't want to. Mine is applying fine with like a flat brush. In Nikki's palette, it didn't, the shimmers in there didn't apply great with a brush. But this palette is working fine with a brush, so yeah. Oh, this is gorgeous. I'm just going to go back into that deep purple shade, the shade Hibiscus, on the same brush. And I'm just going to like blend it into the blue a little bit more. I do kind of think they are a little bit more putty than what I thought they were, to be honest, because if you can kind of see in my blue shade, like, I don't know if you can see that properly. It's a little bit kind of putty. You can kind of see that it has made like a little dent on the shadow, but it's not as soft as like Nikki's ones. So if you do have Nikki's palette and you know you've tried her shimmers and you like them, this is similar, just not as like putty. That makes sense, and they still work fine with a brush, as you can kind of see. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my face off camera, that kind of thing, do my lashes, all that, and then I'll be back to give you guys my final thoughts. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. What do you guys think? Honestly, I am obsessed, living for it. My jumper's screaming winter, but my eyes are screaming summer, so I'm here for it. I am wearing some other Beautybay products on my face as well. I'm wearing the Beautybay bronzer in the shade Fawn. I'm really sorry if you could hear that. I'm wearing the blush in the shade Coral. I'm wearing the 2 highlighters in the shade Beam and Flash. I've been loving mixing these 2 together. I think they're gorgeous on. And then I'm wearing the 2 lip glosses topped on top of another lipstick. I'm wearing the shade Petal and Candy. These are gorgeous. Been obsessed with these. So yes, what do I think about the palette? Mine is already a little bit dirty, you know. So what do I think about it? Honestly, I actually love it. I think it is gorgeous, not gonna lie. Yes, so obviously I went into the shade Sorbet first. That packed on really well, like really well. Amazing. I didn't have any problems with it. I then went into the shade Hibiscus, which is this purple shade here. Again, not a problem packing it on. I thought I would have had more problem with the purple, however I didn't. It packed on really well, wasn't patchy at all. I then went into the shade Reef, which blended out the Sorbet shade really well, and yeah, again, no problems. I then went into Moonlit. I did also dabble into Zest as well, so I kind of went into both. I don't think I told you that, guys, but I think when I was off camera building up the shades again, I went into both, and yeah, I like them both. I don't think they needed both of them in the palette, but that's just my own personal opinion. I think they could have taken one of the yellows out and added a red shade instead. Again, just my opinion. I then went into the shade Flamingo to blend out the purple. Again, such a beautiful shade, really hot pink. And then went into Dusk to blend out Flamingo, and they work really well. Dusk isn't as pigmented as what I thought. I don't know whether it's just like quite firmly pressed into the pan. I think it might be, but again, it still worked. I had to dip in a few times, but it did blend it out. I then went in with the lid shade. I went in with the shade Oasis. Can you see it on my lids? It is beautiful. I actually love it. It packed on really well with a brush. You could either use a brush or your finger, either one. But of course I love to use brushes, and it packed on really well. So if you didn't really like the Nikki palette for the shimmers and having to apply it with your finger, then you will still like this palette because that shade packed on beautifully. I can't speak for the other shades, but I'm pretty sure because they're not as like soft as the ones in the Nikki palette, I'm pretty sure they'll work the same. But yes, I'm obsessed. Like I said, the only thing that's missing in this palette for me personally is a red and then like a inner corner shade. But I don't need an inner corner shade. I just love an inner corner shade. But obviously you can use your highlighter or whatnot. But yeah, I'm just saying. Other than that, I think mainly just the red I would have put in here. But yeah, I am absolutely obsessed with this palette. How gorgeous is this? For £15, you can't go wrong. Trust me. If you were looking at this and you were thinking of picking it up, I 100% recommend it. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, please remember to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as it would really help me out. Everything else that I'm wearing on my face I will link, of course, down below in case you want to check it out as well. I will of course be leaving my Instagram and Twitter handles above and also in the description box down below, so you can go and check me out there if you want to. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!